Honorable members, Madam Speaker.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in the reputation going to support the leaders and parliaments for the to start a just community of humanity, we beseech you to look upon with them for these your servants whom been pleased called to perform such important trust in this land. Let your blessings set upon the assembled and grant the mayor as in your presence. Treat and consider all matter that shall come at the deliberation. Is so just and fulfillment to promote your honor and glory and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to your church. Amen.
Item 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I want to welcome you to this morning session. I'm surprised some members have not yet arrived. I know they're in the committees, but we want them in the house too, because we have a clarification that we need to make in the committees that they are sitting. Honorable members, as part of accountability for the monies that we give out to institutions that get money from government, and as per Article 164 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995, it's just prudent enough that for us, we must do our oversight role as Parliament and ensure that we make a follow-up on how much money has been given to an institution, how much money has been used, is there value for money? And based on that, yesterday, the leader of opposition led a team to one of the institutions that we are giving money, that is Luoa Hospital. To my surprise, I am told, which I'm here to confirm, I am told the team was denied access to see what is happening, where our money has gone. And I think that is really very unfortunate, because we are doing what we are mandated to do as per the Constitution. We are doing our oversight role. So I think as government, you need to guide us. Should we just sit here, appropriate money, we don't see what is being done, and we call it a day? Remember, this is taxpayers' money that we must account for. Yesterday also, I received a petition from the tea growers. The petition that I received from the tea growers, and these tea growers, promoters and processors were from Toro region, and they were led by the district chairperson of Toro, that is Honorable Richard, who is also the chairperson of Ulga. And in this petition, they're looking at the challenges that is faced by the tea sector, where the farmers have started cutting off trees because of no market, no quality control, no herbicides for the tea. There is no legal framework for these tea growers. There is no policy in place. Unlike UCDA, that is coffee, cotton, which has, but this one does not have. So these people want a remedy from Parliament, and it is only this Parliament that can give a remedy to that effect. And I want to pursue the leader of Toro to present this petition to Parliament as per Rule 33 of the Rules of Procedure. Honorable members, on rather a sad note, on Sunday we received with a deep sorrow the news of the murder by shooting of the head of the Ndiga clan of Uganda, that is Engineer Daniel Bossa Roma. I want to call upon the relevant security agencies to thoroughly investigate the cause of this incident. And in addition, we need to ensure that police make sure that all the CCTV cameras that have been installed around are operational. We may be just looking at their CCTV cameras when they are not working. We want to urge these people to ensure that the CCTV cameras are all working so that we can be able to follow it up and see where was this incident and where did it start from, where did they start following him from. And I want to plead with the Ugandans who can be able to afford CCTV cameras equally to put cameras around their homes. But government should also come with an incentive by reducing the cost of the CCTV cameras so that everybody should be able to have the CCTV cameras. I want to thank you for coming. We are going to look at rationalization. We are going to look at rationalization. We'll look at the bills, but there are some issues that we need to be clarified. There are two clarifications that we need on the rationalization. The two issues that we need to be clarified is one, on the issue of certificate of financial implication. That's one, and that should come from the Minister of Finance. Two, we'll need a clarification on the titling of these bills, and that should be done by Attorney General. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can see in the House, the quorum is not enough because we are now few in the House. How shall we be able to handle the bills when there are not many members, even from the opposition side in the House, Madam Speaker?
The honorable members, the members are coming. Don't worry about quorum. The members are coming. And whoever is trying to demobilize and say we should not have quorum is wasting his or her time. The quorum will be there and we will rationalize. Gabriel?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity emanating from your communication. Right Honorable Speaker, I would like to send our condolences from the people of Okoro constituency to the family of the leader of the Ndiga clan. It is very regrettable, and the people of Uganda should not take the law in their own hands. We should actually detest generally the murder of our citizens in cold blood. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, in your communication, you mentioned that the leader of opposition visited Luoa Hospital. It is in the interest of Ugandans that the hospital should be completed and should be able to serve Ugandans. And government should know that parliament is an arm of government, and together we shall make our country be successful and achieve its objectives. In the same note, we come from West Nile. Recently, they were working on Karuma Dam, which crosses to West Nile and northern Uganda. However, the alternative route is in Bulisa and passing through the Massician Falls. Right Honorable Speaker, when we pass the road which is made by the government of Uganda as members of parliament, when we go to our constituencies, we go to do our oversight roles. Right Honorable Speaker, this thing has been mentioned in this floor of parliament. However, I would like to ask your indulgence that as we keep on crossing, at least as members of parliament, our government should allow us to cross that road without paying. We cross weekend in and out, and it takes some big amount of money from us. Would like to ask through your big office to really have mercy on us, especially the MPs who come from West Nile, and you pronounce yourself on this matter. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, you don't want to pay as only members of parliament or members of the public. No, is it members of parliament you're protecting or members of the public?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
By the way, there is an alternative route. You must know that there is an alternative route. But what I am asking, you don't want to pay as a member of parliament, or you are pleading for the public, the people you represent?
Madam Speaker, there are two scenarios here. First of all, we have had instances when our roads are blocked, where you cannot use the Karuma Road because of overflooding. Now, those vehicles, even in such an emergency, are asked to pay when they are using the alternative route which is there. Secondly, Right Honorable Speaker, in this particular matter, I wanted to address the members of parliament, because if we move even across the park, we are doing our oversight role, and it would be procedurally right that you pronounce yourself on this.
Honorable members, let's be mindful of the public, not for our own selves. It's about the people that we represent, and we should be legislating for the people that we represent, the people who sent us to this house. On the issue of the murders, Ugandans really need to be tolerant. Let's accept to live with each other, irrespective of whatever problems that could be there. Killing is not a solution. And to the people of Uganda, the people of Ndiga clan, and the chairperson of Uganda Parliamentary Caucus, and generally people of Uganda, as Parliament of Uganda, we bring in our condolence on the loss of the clan leader. Please accept our condolence, and we are with you in this trying time. Yes, Solomon?
Yeah, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank you for your communication. My area of interest and what I wanted to raise, Right Honorable Speaker, on your communication is the issue of cameras. Right, Honorable Speaker, government committed itself to Parliament that they are going to implement and put cameras everywhere. And remember, in the last Parliament, it was supposed to be done in phases. So the question I wanted to ask the Prime Minister is, when is the last phase being done? Because there are still very critical areas that do not have cameras up to date. And yet we agreed here in Parliament that all areas would be covered, but in phases, because the budget was inadequate at that time. So when are we concluding this whole process to have all the critical areas and roads with the cameras in the country?
First of all, as I said before, we need to find out whether all the cameras are working. And then we now go on to a rollover for the next. Prime Minister.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I want also to add on my voice to condole with the people of Ndiga clan for the loss of our brother. We pray that may his soul rest in eternal peace. All that is said on behalf of the government of the Republic of Uganda and the office of the Prime Minister. We are sorry for what happened, but I know the culprits, since we have some, even the rest will be got. Right Honorable, about the issues of, on the issue of cameras, I'm going to call the Minister of ICT and National Guidance to give us a brief
Internal Affairs.
Sorry, Internal Affairs, together with ICT. Okay, Internal Affairs. He will come and give us a brief on how far, how much area has been covered and what is remaining. Thank you.
Thank you. Workers, Emmanuel. You will all speak.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your communication. I'm concerned about the oversight responsibility. It looks like it is slipping out of our hands. And so we need to demand once again and let the other organs know that we are still the members of Parliament and it's our responsibility. It was so heartening, Right Honorable Speaker, when you they are sealing it off and nobody should go there because it's a ghost. We don't know what is happening, because if there was some work going on, then there's nothing to fear. But also coming when they are armed and our members of Parliament are not armed, it is threatening, because one of these days we might hear that someone has been shot at, a member of Parliament. So something must be done, Right Honorable Speaker, to make sure that we are safe and to know that some of our responsibilities are slipping out of our hands. And me, I'm looking at you, Speaker, and I thank you that you are able to point it out. Thank you.
I want to find out from the Attorney General, is oversight still part of the role of Parliament? Or it was scrapped off?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, the last time I checked, it was still on the statute book. And the only way it can be removed is through this house. So, and I've been here often lately, and I have not seen any such amendment. So the oversight role of Parliament still exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. we may have to repeat about this Luoa incidents, because it's not the first time that Parliament is going there and they are denied. I remember some time back, even the Committee of Health went and they were denied. The question that we should ask ourselves, the question that government should answer is this facility there? Is it being constructed? Let them answer and say no or yes. And if we have to forget about it, forget about it. Maybe with some other words. Otherwise, Right Honorable Speaker, as the people of Jonam, we also condone with the Ndiga clan for the murder of their head. And what pains me is that in this country, we value human beings less. In other countries, one death alone can cause a lot of problems and issues. But here, people die, and 1-2 days, everybody has forgotten. Nobody cares what happens. And for instance, it's not in your communication, but look at the death which happened on the road, on Ginger Road. It's so painful. That accident, I know they are saying one person died and many injured, but from the pictures, you could see that probably more people died. So let's value life as much as possible. Even when we are talking about Luoa, we are still talking about the value of life. So when members of parliament are denied, then somebody needs to answer. And for me, I want to repeat, the answer that I want to hear is that this facility is there or it is not there. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, as you've heard from Attorney General, that from the last time he was here, no amendment has taken place on the Constitution. Our role is to do oversight. Can we find out from government why we are not being allowed to do our role in a facility where Parliament has put money, and remember that money is taxpayers' money?
Right Honorable, it is sad that, yes, that members of parliament were denied to enter Luoa. I'm going to look into that matter with the Minister of Health, because these the members had a letter from the Minister of Health. So we are going to look into the matter so that members should access that area. Thank you.
Honorable members, when you look at Article 164 on accountability, 164.3, Parliament shall monitor all expenditure of public funds. Shall, it is a shall, not a may. And we are saying, we are not asking for too much. We're actually helping you. And when you look at a letter from the Minister of Health, the minister just tells the leader of opposition, good luck. I wish you good luck. What does that mean? Alan?
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
To all of you.
Right Honorable Speaker, my concern goes to the death of Engineer Daniel Bossa, the leader of Ndiga clan. Right Honorable Speaker, you have guided that the responsible department should do thorough investigation, and I concur with you. But Right Honorable Speaker, the ministers responsible should also come this parliament and give us update, because we have been having various killings of Jaja Uchuli, the minister, but we have never got any update. I think it would be procedure, right? The minister responsible, specifically Minister for Security, Minister for Internal Affairs, comes before this parliament, and at least we get an update on that line.
Can we have a report on the killings? Because you have even been investigating. Nobody has ever reported about Jaja Ichuli. Nobody has reported about who again was shot. A number of them. Huh? We want a report on the floor.
And lastly,
Just as Engineer Daniel has been shot is the same way any of us can be shot. Yes. He has not finished.
Madam Speaker, lastly about Luoa. I suggest that at least you appoint a select committee, or you assign it special powers, so that we can investigate this matter, because it has been since 2018, Parliament is pumping a lot of money in that facility. Yesterday we were there.
I am going to assign my deputy speaker to go to Luoa with the team on Wednesday. On Wednesday, the deputy speaker should go to Luoa and they will give us a report.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable
Ibrahim.
Speaker. The reason I was raising on a point of procedure earlier, during the consideration of the budget framework paper, I did ask the chairperson of our committee on health why he was not reporting on Luoa. And the Honorable Ayume told the budget committee that Luoa has since then been moved to the office of the Prime Minister. It is no longer in health. He said it. If there are other members of the budget committee can bear me witness here. I am now shocked, Madam Speaker, that the Prime Minister now says I'm going to consult the Minister of Health. Maybe she meant another person, because the Honorable Ayume said that in our committee. And if you read the report of the committee on health, there is nothing about Luoa. But of interest to this parliament, Madam Speaker, if you read the report of the Auditor General reports that while government is supposed to have an engineer, a resident engineer, that angel called Pineti has since then chased the resident engineer. Her resident engineer is the one submitting requisitions to finance to pay. And the Auditor General says that actually that they have paid money for even no work that has been certified by over $70 million US. That's the report of the Auditor General. I feel sad. The Honorable Bahat was here putting the whole parliament at gunpoint. We must approve this promissory note immediately.
Where was the gun? No. Let it be off record that there was no gun on the floor, because nobody is allowed to carry a gun.
Madam Speaker, you will forgive me.
Let's change the language. Let's change the language. It was either spitting fire or whichever, but there was no gun that Honorable
Madam Speaker, forgive my language. I am a journalist. So that,
Okay.
that's, but if it doesn't, if people don't pick it immediately, I withdraw. So,
Okay.
but the point I made was that the Honorable Bahat, who was that time representing finance here all the time, he said we must approve this loan request today immediately, or else we are going to begin paying fines. And that project was supposed to have been constructed under 48 months. It is now 5 years. I think maybe there should be a time when these people are being matched to zero. Like it happened when Amin was removed. Like Bahat his warrant in Zira should find him at the gate. Because how do you continue sitting here? You told the parliament, if we did not pass this, we are going to begin paying fines. How comes the one violating the contract
There
is
is
not
an
paying fine?
order
Madam Speaker, Honorable Semuju was here when we were approving this project. All of us looked at the objectives of this project. The objectives was to have a specialized hospital in Uganda to stop medical tourism. All of us approved this and we were here. So to let you know, Honorable Semuju, that when a house takes a decision, you are bound by it. Yes, and if you don't approve it, then you know the rules. So is it in order? Now the House is doing an oversight law, and you have appointed the Deputy Speaker to go there and see. Is it in order really to put a situation that I'm responsible for what is happening in Luoa, when we have a whole Ministry of Health supervising this project?
Honorable members, the responsibility is collective to the House. It's not a personal responsibility, it's a collective responsibility. But then there's something that we need to clarify. Where they said it is ceased to be in health, it went to Prime Minister's office. Is that true?
Right, Honorable Speaker, as far as I'm concerned, Ministry of Health, hospitals belong to Ministry of Health. I don't know when and where that guideline was maybe passed that Luoa Hospital.
Honorable Prime Minister, Luoa is not a hospital. It's a construction site.
Construction site.
It's a project for a hospital.
A project, that whole project for the hospital.
It is not yet a hospital. Anyway, we don't know whether it is finished or whichever, because nobody can access. We don't know. So you need to clarify, you need to guide us.
Yeah, right, Honorable Speaker, it is what I was trying to say, that I've never heard of that project being taken by Office of the Prime Minister. As far as I know, it is being supervised by Ministry of Health. And that's why the opposition leader, Honorable, yes, he went to the Minister of Health and is the one who gave him that letter. Thank you, right, Honorable
Speaker, let me conclude though, my submission on this matter.
You mean you are not finished?
Yes. The chairperson of the Committee on Health is a member of this parliament. He can actually be asked, because that's what he said in the Budget Committee. And finally, Madam Speaker, on your communication about the death of the Ndiga clan leader, I saw initially part of the security blaming the borders who chased the suspects and killed some of them. But for me, my issue, and I think colleagues who are responsible for security should help us understand, how can someone be shot and for 3 kilometers or even more, it is 1 inch chasing the suspects and there is no police? There is no ISO, there is nobody in the middle, in the city, Kampala. The murder happens and 1 inch are the one who's chasing and doing broad daylight because he was shot before 6. But he's 1 inch chasing the suspects. And because of their anger and lack of training, they did what they did. So can we be told, where is security? If a murder in a capital city can happen, and for 3 kilometers, there are no soldiers, there are no policemen, yet when the leader of opposition reports at Luoa, every minute there is another clan of security people that are reporting, military, police, prison, everywhere, SFC. So why are they not there when people are vulnerable and helpless? But they rush very quickly where the leader of opposition is inspecting, is doing his oversight work.
But we also want to thank the civilians for being vigilant. all of us should be vigilant. What those people did by chasing these people for 5 kilometers, they did a very good job. Dr. Bed. Yes, there is a procedural matter from PP. Honorable Mbua, I've seen you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we have lamented a lot on the issue of gun violence in this country. And we don't have any more time to continue lamenting. Madam Speaker, I want to move that we have a substantive motion in this parliament to debate and discuss and resolve on the issue of gun violence. Because you see, receiving these reports and investigation which never come, and we will continue experiencing more death through gun violence. So I would like to know whether if it is not procedurally right for us to have a substantive motion put in this house and debated, and then we see how we can resolve and sort out this issue of gun violence once and for all. That's a procedural matter I want to raise, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable member, that is not a procedural matter. Put the house on a notice. As per Rule 56, put the house on notice. You're a member of this house. It is not a procedural matter. Eh?
Madam Speaker, I am more than willing to bring that motion in this house.
Okay.
So that we discuss this issue of gun violence once and for all.
Honorable
Thank you.
Chibombe.
Right Honorable Speaker, on behalf of members of Parliament from Uganda, we pay our condolences. We have lost so many in this country. And Right Honorable Speaker, for quite some time, I was the Shadow Minister for Internal Affairs. And I tried to follow the matters in this country. Even when we are going to move a motion, after the death, I think, of Mr. Kawesi, the president of Uganda came to this parliament and addressed a session of parliament and outlined 10 solid 10 measures that were to be taken. At the end of it all, he pledged that matters will be normal. I can't remember how many motions have been moved in this parliament on matters, but they have continued. Even where we are praising the public for pursuit, Right Honorable Speaker, we need to further investigate that, because one, a possibility of cover up in that pursuit when you are going to capture the assailants, so that that case dies at that point, can also be executed in mob justice and complicates matters of investigation. But Right Honorable Speaker, no single case has been brought exhaustively. Even the one of Kagezi, it is only recently that we are seeing actual people being brought to book. So we are losing so many people, Right Honorable Speaker, that we may now reach a level where we demand that the president of Uganda comes back. We request, implore him to come back to Parliament to account for the 10 measures that were undertaken. And why? After the implement, and we have allocated billions of money in cameras, billions of money in classified expenditure, billions of money, yet our people continue to die. Right Honorable Speaker, on matters Luoa. Right Honorable Speaker, as the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, looked at Luoa, and I've already issued some witnesses from Ministry of Finance to appear before the committee, but there are small matters also to sort out. You are also aware that the Auditor General did a special investigation on Luoa. I've been, yes, the committee, while handing over the Auditor General's report, he said it was complete.
Did they allow them in?
What?
Were they allowed in? Auditor General.
The Auditor General, in his report, they were allowed in, and they did a thorough investigation. All we are also asking is that the Auditor General produces that report to you, so that while we are considering this matter, while we are considering this matter, we can also look at the special report of the Auditor General that he has carried out on Luoa. The details, if I utter them out that I've read, I will bias the investigation that the matter before me. But of interest, we immediately demand that special report. The Auditor General is denying that it's not yet ready, it's not yet final. While presenting the Auditor General's report, he said it was ready. We need it to complete this process.
Okay, Clerk, can you make a follow-up with the Auditor General's office? We need a report for us to know what is happening. Betty? Betty Semakula, Dr. Bed, Goretti.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. On behalf of Acholi and on my own behalf, we want to condole with the Ugandas on the brutal death of a leader and an engineer. I would like to say that I condemn this brutal death, condemn it properly, and we need to do a lot more so that this stops. I want to comment on the stopping of people from entering Luoa. Even the minister herself in the 10th parliament was stopped. I think I'm not lying. The Minister of Health was stopped from going to do her oversight role in Luoa. This Luoa is something that is beating most of us. So how I wish the president himself should answer to this, because it looks like it's defeating. It defeated even the person who acts on behalf of the president. That is the Minister of Health. That is why she said, I wish you well. Right Honorable Speaker, it is not only Luoa that, especially us in the opposition, face a lot of challenges. Parliament spend some money, resources from Parliament, and then you go to do your oversight role and you are stopped. I remember we were stopped, and we were 12 members of Parliament stopped when we went to do our oversight role in a power. Completely by guns. If members of Parliament can be stopped by guns, then how about the Wananchi? I wish one time the Wananchi could get up and rise against the power of guns, because power belongs to the people. So they must stop killing people. Thank you.
Betty, former law, don't ask it. Don't incite violence, please. Because at the end of the day, you're going to lose these people and you'll have lost your own people. You cannot tell members to go and just do that. No, that should not happen.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw.
Thank you, thank you.
I withdraw, but I want to just say, allow us also to do our oversight role.
Yes, that one is a constitutional mandate. Yes. Semakula.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, you had given cameras as one of the measures to curb insecurity. As Parliament, when we debate, we should try at times to give solutions. Don't you think it is high time as Parliament to look into taxes which are imposed on cameras, that there comes a time when cameras are not taxed, such that they can be...
And I said it. I said it.
Right Honorable Speaker, in the same vein, There are several police posts which are removed of recently from different areas of the country. Isn't it high time that the Minister of Internal Affairs, General Kahindo Tafire, restores such police posts in different areas of the country, such that they can also help the curbing of the insecurity? Right Honorable Speaker, there is also another security we should discuss as Parliament. It is raining outside. There is what we call food security. I would wish, Right Honorable Speaker, since it has started raining, to know whether members are going to access seeds this time, such that if they are not budgeted for, that we can find ways how we can get money to purchase seeds such that we can also look into food security. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker, on the Luoa, I want to implore you.
They have not allowed you first to wait for the ruling of the Speaker.
When did you take over to be the Speaker of Parliament? Right Honorable Speaker, I didn't know that you have given your powers to Mr. Honorable Lutamaguzi is ruling on your behalf.
Honorable members, Honorable Lutamaguzi was talking about food security. I don't see a Minister of Agriculture here, but I see the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, the issues of food security. And just like the other day, I had said before you merge NADS, can we have our seeds? Can we first have a response?
Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Agriculture is coming on the date you will give him to come and give us a brief on the seeds and food security. Thank you.
Can I have a response on that today? All of you ministers are supposed to be in the house.
Much obliged.
Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, you see this country has big issues. As we are speaking about seeds, in the countryside where we are, this year for some good reason, we got so much rain, and we have a bump harvest of maize. But the price of maize in this country has gone to levels where it's going to discourage more people to grow maize. The kilo is now going for 400. And there is a lot of harvest in the countryside. Under PDM, he said people grow maize. They've grown maize, government can't even ensure that people buy maize. We want to know across the country what government is doing with the bump harvest of maize and where farmers are losing crucial sums of money, which they borrowed, and they cannot pay back because they invested in maize.
Right Honorable Speaker, like you have ruled before, the Minister for Agriculture.
No, that is a trade.
No. She's talking about the bumper harvest of maize.
Yes. Who does the marketing? Who does the selling? It is a trade.
Let me call the Minister for Trade to come and talk about that.
Madam Speaker, there are two things that we are trying to do to save the situation for now and for the future. The first one is to look for external markets of the products that we produce. The second one is to find alternative use of the products that we produce, setting up factories, for example,
Honorable members, let's first hear from the minister, then you
for
give.
example, setting up factories for animal feeds using the products that we produce. I want to inform this House that it's not possible to have government subsidy at the moment. And coming in to control prices means government subsidy. And we should be clear to our people that we are not going to have subsidies for these products at the moment.
Honorable members, honorable minister, you mean there is no way government can help people on selling their products? Maize at 400, 300 a kilo?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, we are looking at alternative markets to sell our products. But the idea of coming in to control prices, to put more money to control prices is not possible at the moment.
Honorable Minister, for you to control the prices does not really need subsidies. You need a buffer system where the people can be able to store and have this sold at a later time. It's basically that.
So, Speaker.
Honorable members, can I have some silence? Can I have silence? I need a feedback from the minister.
Madam Speaker, when you stock, if I'm a farmer and government says I'm going to store your produce, I will need to be paid. And to be paid means the government has got to put in money. And that's what we mean by subsidy. And it's not possible
Information.
at the moment.
So, Madam Speaker, the answer.
Honorable members, there is a very big problem.
Yes.
There is a very big problem. Honorable Minister, come back to this house tomorrow and tell us what plans you have. Tell us the plans you have to save the farmers out there with their products, with their crops, which they cannot sell because of the pricing.
Right, Honorable Speaker, you had given me the opportunity to speak. The answer to fluctuating prices for agricultural products is contract farming law. That law, we did our work, the bill, we did our work. The only way to secure a farmer is to ensure that before they go farming, they have already secured the price. Right now, we are selling our maize to Tanzania at a cheaper price. After 3 months, we are going to buy it back at a very high price. And the government cannot do anything. So, Right Honorable
Information.
Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to implore you that this bill finds space on the order paper so that we can help the farmers in this country.
Tomorrow we'll have it. We'll have a report from agriculture, from trade. Dan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, you're all still on communication.
Right Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, on that specific issue, Right Honorable Speaker, I wish it would also encompass the issue of milk prices, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we have raised this issue 1,001 times, and no one seemed to understand us. I can see now it is biting far and wide, and we are coming up with one voice. I therefore beg, Right Honorable Speaker, that when we are finding solutions, let's not do it piecemeal. Let's look comprehensively at the farming challenges of this country. Farmers sell milk, a liter of milk at 300, Right Honorable Speaker.
200,
Even 200.
Yes.
And for the last 10 years, Right Honorable Speaker, and honorable colleagues, as I wind up.
Honorable members, can you listen?
Honorable colleagues.
Mbwa.
Honorable colleagues, a liter of milk.
Mbwa, whom do you want to buy it? You sit. You sit. You sit.
Honorable colleagues, a liter of milk is 200-300.
Yes.
And
yes, it's true.
And on the market, when the manufacturer has done only boiling and packing, they sell it at 3,000. And the government doesn't come with a solution to that effect. So, right honorable colleagues, I beg that if we are handling issue of prices, let's handle it comprehensively. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members. Honorable members. I want to hear from I had given Goretti. Then Mbwa. You know why members are laughing? Honorable Kimoshe, why members are laughing? They are saying, unlike dairy, which has free grass, that they can go and graze is different from
Thank you, Right Honorable
Yes,
Speaker.
Goretti.
Right Honorable Speaker, when it comes to issues of prices of agricultural products, we need to be very careful because 70% of the informal sector is in agriculture. And we must
Honorable
be
members,
very...
let's not talk about agriculture.
Right,
we are
Honorable
going to have a
Speaker.
report tomorrow and we discuss it. Let's have a report
Noted,
tomorrow.
Right Honorable Speaker. Now, Right Honorable Speaker, there is a very big elephant in this house, in addition to Luoa. I want this house to pick interest in the money that is borrowed and is not utilized, the so-called undisbursed loans. The 14.9 trillion that accrues interest and other related funds, Right Honorable Speaker. As you pick interest in Luoa, kindly pick interest in loans that we borrow and money is not utilized. Thanks so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Even the money for Kampala Ginger Express Highway was borrowed and it has never been used since 2020. Nothing has happened since that time. Leader of opposition, Mbwa, then Mbwa.
I'm humbled, Madam Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the issue of Luoa, I'm so happy that my Honorable Minister was denied access some time back. What was she going to see? Actually, she was helped. Her time was saved, not waste time. I remember in 10th Parliament when we were here, she was the one with Honorable Bahati, this one, agitating and said, please give us money, the hospital will work, and we refused completely. I wish to thank, yes, hello? No. All right, Honorable Speaker. No, I'm already informed about the affairs of Luoa.
There's an order. There's an order.
Madam Speaker, I was in this house when the matter came. The Minister of Health, in the alternative presented to this house, a report and a separate request of amount of 1.3 trillion shillings, and pleaded with this house that instead of giving this amount of money, 1.4, to Luoa, you can give it to the Ministry of Health so that the whole country can be done. That record was put and the report was the report was brought to this house. So is the Honorable Mbwa in order to come and misrepresent the facts as it was presented to this house then, to the extent that the Minister of Health was the one who did that.
And it is not the Minister of Health that approved, it is the House that approved. It is a collective responsibility. It was, the mistake was by the House. And Honorable Mbwa was part of the House.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I concede, but much as we refused, even including the Committee of Health, if you still recall, led by Dr. Bukenya. We were also one time stopped from accessing, doing our work. But Right Honorable Speaker, the matter I'm bringing about the person who is having that project, Madam Pinetti.
I'm wondering, right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members.
No. Right, Honorable Speaker, I have a point.
A minute.
The same person has been allocated to deal with tea.
Which tea?
Yes, recently the Prime Minister called a meeting, and among the latter, Pineti was also part of the team. So, right, Honorable Speaker, how is Pineti in this country?
You're shouting.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable, you're shouting.
Okay,
Speak
okay,
slowly.
okay.
Calm down.
Okay, thank you so much, right, Honorable Speaker.
No, you calm down. You get it, eh?
I'm calm now.
I give it. We can give you some water. First, give him some water. Honorable Mbwa. Honorable Mbwa. So you can speak slowly.
Okay, thank you so much, right, Honorable Speaker. Right, Honorable Speaker, in your communication, you also mentioned about people who brought petition in regards to the tea. And right, Honorable Speaker, why I'm so much concerned is that we've been complaining about tea prices. The last week when, yeah, I need to take it, otherwise I might even bite some of people here. So, right, Honorable Speaker, we've been talking about tea.
Honorable
The
Mbwa.
prices have dropped
Honorable
completely.
Mbwa.
Yes.
Honorable Mbwa, I have a petition in my office. The best you can do, come and pick that petition and you come and present it to the House as per Rule 30. You be the one to present it in the House.
Most obliged.
And the earlier you do it, the better. And yes.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I told you that I needed 2 clarifications. And I was buying time to have my good MPs in the House. Since for them, they come earlier than me, I wanted them to come. I need 2 clarifications. A clarification from the Minister of Finance on certificates of financial implication, and then a clarification from the Attorney General on the titling of the laws. But before we do that, I will hear from Kalungunga. You've given yourself. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was giving a right that the minister brings the statement about maize, that we want to know why the price of maize brand is twice higher than the kilo of maize. We need to know that. Secondly, Madam Speaker, with the issue of this rampant killing, we need to find out why are we having a lot of guns in the public. We need to find that out. For example, these people who killed the Omkruwechka, the head of the clan of Undiga, these are people who are civilians. The system of people having guns irregularly, Madam Speaker, is growing day by day. Lastly, Madam Speaker, in this house of ours, we have ministers who are ex-officials who don't have constituencies, but some of them are very irregular here. For example, there are a number of issues raised in Parliament concerning the president, and these issues must be responded to by the Minister for Presidency. But this is one of the members who are very irregular here, but is always seen in public gallery, in rallies, and elsewhere. The appointment of a minister to be Minister for Presidency is because he comes here to represent the president, and in matters incidental to the president, she has powers to respond to our issues here other than anybody, not even giving a speaker address. Lastly, Madam Speaker, why? We are here. We are now 2 years back without having a substantive governor of Bank of Uganda. And they have taken us to court saying that the money we are using in this country is irregular, because you cannot deputize someone who is not around. How do you deputize someone who is not around? So Atingo, the deputy governor Bank of Uganda, is using his name to sign on money as deputy governor without a substantive governor. And the Attorney General, that is yours, and the Minister for Presidency. What are you doing? Don't we have educated people to run that office? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Prime Minister, on your missing ministers.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
The government chief whip came up, made a rota for ministers' attendance in parliament. So, Minister for Presidency is not here. I think it's because of the rota for today.
Government chief whip. Government chief whip.
Right Honorable Speaker, it is known that I laid on table the rota for all ministries, departments, and agencies of government. I wish you could give me some few minutes to read under office of the President, who is meant to be in Parliament today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Attorney General, on the issue of Governor.
Right Honorable Speaker, yes, as we all know, no governor has been appointed at this point, but for me, it is wrong to say that the deputy governor cannot perform those functions. Now, the question of how long it would take.
The Bank of Uganda Act does not specify how long one can act.
I beg you.
And in the absence, the Bank of Uganda Act says in the absence of governor, the deputy will be in charge. And honorable members, you leave the man to act. Look.
Thank you.
By the way, that position is an established position, not contingent to the governor. Let the deputy governor work. Let him work. Yes. Why you leave Dr. Ting and go to work? You work, you go to the phone. You see your calling there saying the eyes have it. Can I have the leader of opposition in the parliament?
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in your communication, you have hinted on several critical matters. I want to firstly join you in condoling with the family of the late now, Dr. Engineer Daniel Bosa, who's been the head of the Ndiga clan. Right Honorable Speaker, we have had so many unresolved murders in this country, and Ugandans increasingly get agitated. They're now taking matters in their own hands. I don't think that's a place we want to be at. This mob justice is actually not mob justice, it's mob action. These are people saying, we don't trust that the killers will be brought to book, let's deal with them ourselves. Once this becomes prevalent, even innocent people along the way could suffer. I'm glad, Right Honorable Speaker, you have directed the Minister of Internal Affairs to bring a report to this House. Maybe you'll guide the duration when that should happen on all these unresolved matters so that we know and so that the country gets to know what's happening and whether or not people should keep doing what they're doing, which is improper. But we need some kind of assurance from government. What is the latest? What is happening with these investigations? Right Honorable Speaker, as you did mention, I went with a couple of members of parliament to the Luoa hospital site. We wrote to the Minister of Health, among other things, also requesting her to join us and to take us around or to delegate somebody from the ministry so that we establish what exactly is going on. Parliament injects plenty of money on an annual basis to this project. The minister wrote back to me and she indicated she couldn't make it. She had a cabinet meeting, but she signed off by saying, I wish you a successful tour. And Right Honorable Speaker, I want to table a copy of this response by the minister.
Of course, people interpreted that variously. Some to say, well, this minister has been denied access to those very premises, and yet she's in charge. So by her signing off and saying she's glad about the tour we are doing, but signs off by saying, I wish you a successful tour. No wonder we met the resistance that we met and we could not access. Honorable Speaker, it's important that this parliament, and by extension, the nation, gets to know who exactly is in charge of this project. Because the Ministry of Health, as far as I understand, it should be in charge of the project. We are told it is now Office of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has said, no, it is Ministry of Health. Yesterday, the police officers and then military and so on, they kept telling us, you have not got clearance. I said, but this project is under Ministry of Health. Here is a letter of clearance from the Ministry of Health. So, Right Honorable Speaker, government needs to tell us who exactly is in charge of this project. The Minister of Internal Affairs should also explain to this House why members of Parliament have been denied access. Not just yesterday, but even in the past. Denied access by security outfits. Why? Because as Parliament, we appropriate this money, billions of shillings on an annual basis. Why is it that now security does not want us to go and establish the money that we are sending? What is it doing? With your indulgence, Madam Speaker, I think the Minister of Internal Affairs needs to let this House know why, as Parliament, we cannot have access. You have said the Deputy Speaker should go there on Wednesday. As the Minister of Health has said, we wish him a successful tour. Right Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Health and or the Minister of Finance should give a status update to this Parliament and account for the money so far spent. Because denying us access to these premises is a clear indication that maybe there's not much going on. So we want to appeal to you, Right Honorable Speaker.
There's a procedure matter.
Thank you, Madam. My concern, Madam Speaker, so many of my honorable colleagues have talked about Luoa, but there was one submission that was very critical that we should have listened to properly. The Honorable Mwangachifubi said the Auditor General went and did an audit on this project, and he was allowed time to understand the project. And he's about to bring that report to us. My procedural matter was, Madam Speaker, don't you think it would be procedurally right to wait for that report to come here? Possibly, it could answer most of the questions we're putting out, because the Auditor General, the Auditor General is part of Parliament. By the fact that he was allowed to access the site, do an audit, I believe he will give us the proper answers because he's part of this Parliament. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Hello.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Clearly, some things don't need to be responded to. I'm sure that's why, as Speaker, you have said I proceed. Right Honorable Speaker, as I was saying, we need to compel the Minister of Health and or the Minister of Finance to come to this Parliament, give us a status report and account for the money so far that has been spent on this project, because we don't know what's going on there. We are denied access, and yet we appropriate this money. So the taxpayers are now blaming Parliament. They're saying, you people appropriate this money. What is it doing? Maybe you need to stop. So it's important that they come and account to us and by extension to the general public. With the Speaker's permission, I can take the information.
Thank you, Right Honorable Lop. And Right Honorable Speaker, the information that I want to give this House is that the Women's Specialized and Neonatal Hospital, a 450-bed facility, was constructed at $34 million. The Luoa Hospital is supposed to be a 200-bed hospital. And you know how much has been spent so far.
How much has been spent?
Madam Speaker.
Right Honorable Speaker.
So far, 150 million US dollars so far.
It's over 5 times, or yes, close to 5 times what was spent. Over 400 billion. I don't have the figure. Yes.
Get the information from the minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the total project cost under Luoa Hospital is 379 million 789 million US dollars.
Honorable members, listen.
We have so far paid through promissory notes an amount of United States dollars 156 million dollars.
So, Right Honorable Speaker, that's the information that I wanted this House to know as we talk about Luoa, that with the $34 million, we were able to put up a 450-bed facility at Mulago for the women.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Love.
Thank you, Honorable, for that very imperative information. Right, Honorable Speaker, we actually intend to move this House via motion that, number one, even as we wait for that accountability, because money has been spent already and the Minister of Finance has confirmed. But one, that we halt as Parliament paying any more money to Luoa Hospital because they are not accountable. We cannot access to see what's happening there. Let us hold. Because otherwise the taxpayer will blame us as Parliament. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, we think that...
First of all, I want to find out, are there obligations that you've entered into that cannot be stopped in terms of promissory notes? Finance. I want to get a legal opinion to that effect.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I think we need to look at the terms of the contract and understand that question, I'm not in a position to answer it at this point, whether there are any obligations that have been entered into which can't be stopped.
Okay.
Right, Honorable Speaker, you see, the practice financially and even legally of promissory notes, before another promissory note is issued, the contractor is meant to give a certificate of milestone completion.
Yes.
And that's the accountability we want. So far, I mean, why do you keep issuing promissory notes?
Maybe we need to get the certificates of the milestone completion that were given to finance before finance made payment.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. And that's part of the accountability that we are demanding as Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, I think it would be prudent, and as colleague gave information, we have got hospitals in this country.
There is information.
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and my brother, the Leader of Opposition. Madam Speaker, we were told in this House that this contract was supposed to be executed in 2 years, and it is now coming to 7 years since this work began. I don't know if we are still going by the same contract and the same agreement and understanding that was presented to this House when we secured 396 billion shillings to facilitate that work to start. The work was supposed to be concluded in 2 years, had to be handed over to the government of Uganda after 8 years, and I don't know if that contract still stands.
Thank you for the information. Right Honorable Speaker, the agreement was revised for this engagement, Right Honorable Speaker. 2 things, maybe 3, are problematic. 1, the scope of the work was actually lessened, and yet the amount of money was increased. it does not quite make sense, because if the scope is lessened, then the money should lessen. However, that revised agreement has never been tabled here in Parliament. So why is government operating that way and you only come to Parliament as an ATM? Because the first agreement was tabled. The revised agreement, why has it not been tabled here in Parliament? Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, for that revision of the amount, it's Parliament that is meant to approve when you say you want to revise the amount. And that's why it is important. Maybe I wait for the Chief Whip who is obstructing the Speaker. I apologize, Right Honorable Speaker. I wanted to catch your eye for this very critical issue, that the agreement was revised, the scope was lessened, but the amount was increased. However, that revised agreement has not been tabled here in Parliament. So we don't know what's going on.
Information.
And also, Parliament has got to approve. I'll take the information.
I thank you, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition in Parliament. Right Honorable Speaker, just in relation to the point that the Leader of Opposition is bringing to this House. Madam Speaker, in the 10th Parliament, I happen to have been in the Committee of National Economy that processed this loan. Madam Speaker, one of the critical issues that the committee grappled with, first of all, just to add to what Honorable Jonathan Odur said, was that the Honorable Minister of Health was very hesitant in supporting this loan before our committee.
Which Minister of Health? Was it Acheng?
At that time, the Honorable General Acheng.
Oh, he opened.
No,
I want it on record.
The Honorable General Acheng,
Not
appeared.
Not Opendi.
The Honorable Pendi was a Minister of State for Health.
Okay.
Now, Madam Speaker, may I just, with your permission, elaborate on this point? At that point, the Ministry of Health themselves were a little bit worried about the competence and the experience of the leader in as far as the joint purpose vehicle was concerned, because that was Pinetti Enrica. Madam Speaker, when the committee got into a state where we had to make a decision, we unpacked the JPV, the joint purpose vehicle. And at that time, the committee was persuaded that Rocco was still very competent in as far as construction was concerned. In the JPV, we had been made to understand that Enrica would bring in, one, technical expertise, two, the competence. Whereas the person who was supposed to do the construction was the partner, who was Rocco. Madam Speaker, within 2 weeks of passing the loan here, Rocco was thrown out of the JPV. This brought in a challenge that Enrica did not have the competence to undertake construction because they were simply agents of persons who were supposed to supply us the equipment and train the experts that were supposed to work in the hospital. That is the reason, as of today, Enrica cannot take off from the aspect of construction because they do not have the capacity to undertake construction. Madam Speaker, as I informed the law, what therefore baffles this House is that if the total amount of the loan was $379 million, how possible is it that the Ministry of Finance continued to pay up to $150 million, and yet the total amount included equipment, included training of specialists, included transfer of knowledge, which are other aspects other than the construction? Number two, Honorable Law, the other question other than simply reduction in the scope of works The loan that this house passed included a partner in the JPV. Which partner? That was Rocco. This house understood would undertake the construction. Who then, other than this parliament, authorized Enrique Pinetti to undertake the aspect of construction? It means that already the JPV or the agreement with Uganda had been abused by the other person, and therefore it should have collapsed. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank you, Honorable Law.
Honorable members, thank you so much, Honorable Rico, on that. As you conclude the law, Honorable Chivumbi already asked for the audit report, which is before the auditors, and then we'll also expect a report from the team that is going there on Wednesday. We'll expect a report on that, and then we'll also need the certificates from finance that they based on what release of the monies.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and for the information the colleagues have raised. Madam Speaker, as we speak now, there is no contractor on site because Rocco abandoned the site. However, as you remember, in December, 2.7 billion shillings through a supplementary was allotted to supervise ongoing construction. Which construction? I think we are taking the taxpayer for granted in very annoying ways, because you're saying we need money, 2.7 billion, just to supervise construction. But there's no constructor on site. He abandoned. Our hope, lastly, on this very issue, Right Honorable Speaker, we would like to move Parliament. Can we begin to allocate this money to the referrals that we have in this country, to the health center force that are functional, they are operating, but they are struggling with shortages of drugs, medical equipment, and so on. At least there we know we are sending money where it is needed.
And the staff, for instance, we passed along the organ transplant. They don't have staff. The dialysis, they don't have staff. The ICU of Mulago does not have staff. And yet we have the best equipments in this country. So we should put that money in that. Honorable members, Lob, thank you so much.
Madam Speaker, I request for 2 minutes to wrap up. You did communicate about rationalization, and I want to thank you for pointing out some very critical issues that we've been grappling with. Legally, the wording of these bills, it's going to raise unnecessary legal challenges.
That is going to be responded to.
Yeah. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker and members, you see, these entities were created for efficiency. Now that we are saying, let's send them back to the ministries, what guarantee do we have that efficiency has been created? So all is going to be well. An example, Right Honorable Speaker, REA was rationalized.
Now you've started on anticipation.
I was just giving a general picture in response to your
because you're still going to speak. You're still going to speak as a law after they have presented.
That's right. I was just giving this example to paint a general picture so that as we are debating, Right Honorable Speaker, we think about these critical issues. So I was saying, when REA was rationalized and merged with the Ministry of Energy, the ministry actually decided to reallocate that money, which REA was meant to receive, to other activities. So the activities that REA was undertaking have come to a halt. So as we are saying, rationalizing, let's take them back to the ministries for efficiency to happen, it does not seem to be the case. And Right Honorable Speaker, government needs to come clean. What exactly are they trying to do? Even as they are rushing Parliament, let's deal with this issue very critically. We need to be guarded ourselves as Parliament so that we are not run through a brick wall.
But by the way, nobody is rushing Parliament. The issue is, yes, if we are to rationalize, if we are to remove these entities, some of these entities, we are in a budgeting process. When you look at the budget circular, none of these entities has been budgeted for. It has not been budgeted for. So we need to act as a house. If you want these institutions to remain without money and we say, okay, let's also sit back, because the power to rationalize is on us. So it is us to determine whether we rationalize and have the money put it there. But now the fact that finance has decided not to give these people money, what do? We need to come in as an institution. Honorable members.
Right, Honorable. As I wrap up, this is right, Honorable Speaker. I actually
can you have a seat?
Right, Honorable Speaker, you're right. The power to rationalize lies with Parliament. The executive seems to be taking that away from us because they have rationalized on the financial end. They're saying we are not budgeting for these ones. So it's as if Parliament is being arm twisted. Let's retain that power and we process all of this work without being arm twisted by the executive. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member, thank you so much, Love. In the public gallery this morning, we have students and lecturers from Kiambogo University. You're most welcome. Join me in receiving them. They are here represented by the Leader of Opposition, Honorable Joel Senyonyi. Welcome. And Honorable Shami Malende. Thank you so much for coming. Stand up and we see you. You're most welcome. Thank you so much for coming. This is your parliament. On the public gallery this side, we have a delegation from Bukedea Sub-County Women Choirs. Please stand up. Have you seen my women? My women, please. Those are all yellow. They are represented by Honorable Opolot Ishagi, Chairman Budget. He's a very good man. You bring him back. Represented by Honorable Ikojo John Bosco, who is the Chairman Borrowing. He's a good man. And then represented by Anita Mong. That one is unopposed. Thank you so much for coming, and this is your parliament. Honorable members, can we have an explanation from the Minister of Finance on the issue of certificates? James, I'm going to give you to talk because I know you're going to talk on that one. There's a procedure matter. Is it on unopposed?
No, Madam Speaker, you proceed but seeking guidance because you have asked the Deputy Speaker to go to Luoa.
With a team of members.
So I'm wondering how reporting is going to be done, Madam Speaker. So that's procedure issue I wanted just for clarity.
The reporting will be done by the members. I want to see how they can refuse the Deputy Speaker to enter. Have you understood?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, while we read the bills accompanied with the certificate of financial implications in accordance with Section 76 of the Public Finance Management Act, during the process of consideration of the bills, an issue arose regarding providing the committees with a certificate of financial implications indicating the estimates of revenue and expenditure over the period not less than 2 years after the coming into effect of the bill when we pass it. Madam Speaker, we agree that in compliance with this section, all this information should be provided. And as I speak now, a copy of the bills capturing all this information is being delivered to your office, Madam Speaker. And I will.
Can I have the certificates?
I will be laying copies here shortly, Madam Speaker.
Can we have them? Honorable members, the Honorable Minister said he's going to have individual certificate in compliance with the section 76(2), and is going to lay on table. So Honorable Minister, so could you, instead of wasting time taking them to my office, because it's a longer distance, can they just bring and relay them on the table?
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we realized there was a mess up. I don't want to say mistake. There was a mess up, and that is what is being corrected. It was an oversight, maybe. Yes.
Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the Minister of Finance for that information. However, for the bill to be a bill before the House for amendment, it must be accompanied by a certificate of financial regulations. Does he mean that now we don't have the bills? We don't have them because there is no certificate. That's what
we agreed the bills be sent to the committees. It is from the committees that we've realized there was a mistake on the certificates, which must be corrected. And the Honorable Dur the other day offered a very free.
Right Honorable Speaker, there is another mistake there.
Mhm.
The government presented non-existent act to be amended. The
I
act
have
means
told you, keep your cool. We are sorting out issues one by one. We've sorted the one of financial implication, certificate of financial implication. Can we have the one of Attorney General? Yes.
Madam Speaker, you recall that when those bills were brought here, I actually did raise on a matter of procedure regarding the certificates. Madam Speaker, I don't want to go into what has been administratively handled. I sit on the committee on legal. I know the committee has been in touch with you. But the procedure, the committee, yes. The committee did even.
I've not been in touch with the committee as a person.
As a speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker, this is a very, very serious matter, grave. Kindly allow the Attorney General to tell this Parliament that a bill that was brought in that fashion will not have to first be withdrawn for it to be introduced. I want Madam Speaker, the Attorney General, to tell us, because this is a precedent that we are setting as Parliament, that they can throw documents and then begin correcting them haphazardly like they brought them. So I will be, Madam Speaker, if you allow, comforted. If the Attorney General says, no, they don't need to first withdraw the bills, they just bring things the way they like.
There is no bill that is being withdrawn. We are correcting what was being done, what we have. Attorney General.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I'll first answer Honorable Semuju's issue. The bills that were here were presented with certificates of financial implication, albeit they were not sufficient and they're being amended. I am of the considered opinion that that amendment would suffice. On the second issue, Right Honorable Speaker, in respect to the title that Honorable Eddie Quizel has raised, the bill,
the bills that were presented this House are titled the rationalization, for example, the rationalization of government agencies, for example, Trade Sector Amendment Bill 2024. Some of these bills that are, most of these bills that are before Parliament on RAPEX seek to repeal, amend, or enact more or affect more than one act. This can be described normally as a large bill affecting different acts, generally called smaller bills within that thing on the broad topic before the House. The subject of all these bills is rationalization of government agencies. And the general rule is that Parliament has the power to make laws on any matter for the peace, order, or development of good governance in Uganda. That's under Article 79 of the Constitution. And to enable Parliament process these bills efficiently and effectively, the rules of procedure were put in place. And the rules of procedure do not refuse or bar Parliament from handling bills of this nature. In fact, the bills that had been brought earlier were even more omnibus, but now they have been reduced into sector spaces. Right, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the RAPEX bills may have disparate matters that are not necessarily directly related to the matter of the subject, but are in respect to the general government policy. The common form of the RAPEX bills that are before you, Honorable Speakers and colleagues, covers disparate matters, and this is in miscellaneous, this can be done in miscellaneous bills. Such bills deal with amendments of laws related or unrelated to the subject matter that require demands of government policy to be addressed. Honorable colleagues, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, a good example of a law such as this one is the Law Reform Miscellaneous Amendment Act of 2023, which we just recently passed. In one act, we amended, repealed over 90 acts of Parliament. Another law that has been passed by this House is the Law Revision, Penalties in Criminal Matters, Miscellaneous Amendment Act. That act affects so many other acts, all of them in respect to a similar subject, which will be the penalties. Similarly, the Business Licensing Miscellaneous Repeals Act 2015 repealed redundant business licenses under several amendments, including the Produce Protection Act, the Fish Act, Hides and Skin Export Duty Act, Rivers Act, and the Companies Act. The Act also rationalized and simplified government business processes and practices and procedures under those laws to eliminate the multiplicity and overlap of business licenses. Whereas the RAPEX bills that are before you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, touches upon several laws and matters, all these bills fall under the ambit of the law as matters connected to the government rationalization policy. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, the title of a bill is part of the bill. And when the executive proposes a title of the bill, it does not in any way deter Parliament from amending that bill. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, I refer you to Rule 124.10, 124.20. It says, if any amendment to the title of the bill is made necessary by an amendment to the bill, it shall be made at the conclusion of the proceedings detailed above. But no question shall be put that the title as amended stands part of the bill, or shall any question be put upon enacting a formula. Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, as you consider the various rationalization bills before you, I request that you also consider at the time, if you deem it appropriate, if you deem it necessary to amend the titles of the bill, we propose that the bills be referred to as they are presented before you, but we leave that to the House. I beg to submit, I think.
Shadow Attorney General.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, in making laws, particularly in this house, we have basically 3 guiding laws. 1, the Constitution, 2, the Acts of Parliament Act, and our rules of procedure. Right, Honorable Speaker, a look at most of the bills before us actually refer to amendments in respect of existing acts of parliament. And this kind of legislation that is omnibus in nature, other than the existing permitted laws, the Law Reform, Miscellaneous Provisions Act, and yes.
I am hearing.
Yes,
May I multitask?
okay. So, Right Honourable Speaker, other than the Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act, this kind of omnibus amendment, of the Acts of Parliament is unprecedented. It not only contravenes our precedents here in this Parliament, but in my strong view and opinion, it contravenes both our rules of procedure and the Acts of Parliament Act. I actually pity, if we pass these bills as they are, I pity our students in law schools when they are making rigorous research, how they will come up to know the exact position of the various laws. I do not know why the Attorney General found it prudent to continue doing business in an omnibus way. There are 3 specific bills they have brought properly: the Constitution Amendment Bill, the Karamoja Development Agency Repeal, and the archives. I don't know why
Even NITAU.
And the NITAU. I don't know why they did not adopt the same procedure in respect of all these other laws. Because if, honestly, if you come up and say the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Trade Sector Amendment Bill, do we have an act of parliament called the Rationalization of Government Agencies? Do we have it? So what are we amending? So I will invite members of parliament to find this omnibus way of amending by way of repeal or amendment objectionable and precedented, and this house should not be vulgarized. I therefore invite members of parliament to reject the explanation by the Attorney General.
Chair Legal.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I entirely associate myself with the submissions by Senior Counsel Wagaba in as far as the particular bills are concerned. I was also asking myself, and it's the same question I wanted to ask the Attorney General, as to whether we have that law called rationalization that is supposed to be amended, because you amend what exists. Now that there is no such a law, I heard him saying that at a committee level, we can change. That is very erroneous. We cannot change something that is wrong. That is 1. So 2, Madam Speaker, much as you said you were done with the issue of certificate of financial implications. Madam Speaker,
I said we are done with the correction of the certificates, that certificates must come per bill. Per bill.
Yeah, but Madam Speaker, I wanted to also give an input as far as that is concerned. Whereas we are reading section 76, subsection 2, we must be alive to the fact that section 76(1) is the one that guides us. When do you need this certificate? The certificate is needed at the time when the bill is being introduced in the Parliament. Madam Speaker, there is no way a certificate can be amended when the bill has already been introduced. The proper way this can be done is for us to politely withdraw the bills, come here, introduce them in accordance with section 76 and rule 118 of our rules, so that as you're introducing the bill is accompanied by a sufficient certificate of financial implications. Otherwise what we are doing is just ping pong. It's just ping pong. Let's be honest to Ugandans. Let's do things as members of parliament. Let's do things as lawyers who know what to do, not just to appease people. Ladies and gentlemen, my colleagues, my view is that the Land Attorney General should advise the minister. I even advised the Minister of Public Service. I said I'm not the Attorney General, but as far as I'm concerned, the best you can do is to have these bills withdrawn, then come introduce them in accordance with the law. But for us to have the bills at the stage.
Honorable, not all these bills are going to be withdrawn. Not all of them. And raising your voice, actually, my ears are even becoming sick.
I apologize, but
I'm discussing
serious
raising
issues,
your voice is not a solution.
Much obliged. Let me be a little bit low.
Honorable members, you can speak softly, but you speak a point. I want to ask Attorney General, I want to refer Attorney General to Rule 116. Attorney General, I want to refer you to Rule 116. Can I have some silence? Matters with no proper relation to each other shall not be provided for in the same bill. B. 2. A bill shall not contain anything foreign to what is long title import. My question is, are these matters related to each other that you have put together in one bill?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, laws are made to deal with a policy. All the laws, for example, I'll give you an example of the bill that I have before me. All the bills that are in this rationalization of trade
sector. That is which one?
Trade sector. The long title reads, an act to repeal and to make amendments to certain acts of parliament, establishing statutory bodies in the trade sector in order to give effect to the government program on rationalization of agencies and public expenditure and other related purposes. That's the long title. Right Honorable Speaker, I also wish to add for my learned friend, my highly respected Shadow Attorney General. I gave examples of these bills. And your response to this was that there was no bill, that there's no bill that this is amending. And I want to refer you, for example, to the business, no act that was being amended. I want to refer you to the Business Licenses Amendment Act of 2015, which I read to you here. There was no law that was called the Business Licensing Act. No, it wasn't. It is not there. It does not exist. And if it is there, I beg to be guided on it because I have read and I have not found it. So, right honorable colleagues,
honorable members, can you listen?
The purpose of a bill is to bring a policy into action, to actualize a policy. Now, when you want to actualize a policy on rationalization, you can bring a bill to deal with that. Now, to wonder how the students of law school will deal with this, I will tell you that just recently, I did announce a completion of the law revision, where we reprint these bills to show the amendments. So when we make the amendment, for example, the miscellaneous amendments that we made here, we're not going to leave them on one statute book. we go on dealing with the reprints in these other bills. So that's an administrative matter in the Attorney General's chambers, and we'll handle it. But to say that it is not legally permissible, I have supplied you with 3 examples. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
Honorable Dur.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the procedural matter I want to raise relates to Rule 129, Sub Rule 2. I have listened to what members have said, including some chairpersons of committees. In that rule, once a bill is referred to the committee, the only way for the committee to bring back information to us is through a report. And it is my opinion, Madam Speaker, that such wonderful ideas of how this bill, they look very ugly, they are deformed, they are defective, they cannot stand before the law, should actually come in the report. A committee of parliament properly directing its mind to the law and to the facts would come and report to us and throw these bills and ask the Attorney General to come with, I don't know, a garbage truck or something to take them back. That's what I would expect to come here. So I want to ask your guidance, Madam Speaker, in that respect, whether it is not procedurally correct that we stick by our own rules of procedure and ask each committee to process the bill, entertain them, and that is my point last time. For me, I don't mind whether they have brought this or that, but the committee must direct its mind and then report to us the things we are discussing here and say at this stage, Parliament cannot proceed because the committee thinks these are A, B, C, D, and the Attorney General will go back and consult and bring back.
Honorable members, why we are raising this issue is because the Attorney General was virtually chased away from legal. From legal, even the Minister of Finance was also chased away from finance. So that's why we are bringing up this issue. I've seen Kachumbala.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Colleagues, we must accept and we must remind ourselves that we are deliberating for the good of the country. And there is nothing wrong in us doing things properly. The minister here cited that the certificate of financial implement, whatever it is being delivered.
Financial implication.
Financial
yes.
implication. That means it's not yet here. So we cannot reason that it's sorted. It's just being, either it's being processed, it's still on the way somewhere. It's not yet here. So that means it does not exist. The other part, when we say we must hurry because we're in a budget process and finance has not allocated money, you don't bury somebody before he's dead. Rationalization has not yet taken place. Where does finance get the authority not to allocate funds? That means doing things the other way around. Therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, with all respect to this House and the country, let Attorney General not just meander, but accept to go to the point. What is not ready is not ready. If it's withdrawing, withdraw and come back. The House is here and we shall proceed, other than us doing things in a shabby way because we are forcing what is not there. I beg to move.
Honorable members.
Madam Speaker.
James.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, it is in the interest of the government that brought these bills to do their work. It is also in the interest of Ugandans that we process these bills in accordance with the law and in accordance with what the people of Uganda want. Madam Speaker, I would want, Madam Speaker, I would seek your guidance on this. Apparently, it is as if Parliament is pushing the government to do their work rightly when they seem to have done it properly, because, Madam Speaker, early alone, they had brought an omnibus bill, which you sent them back some months ago. They went and did their work well, and I think they have done their best. That is their best they can do. That's how far they can move. I think the Attorney General has done the best. For us, let's go to the committees. Let's go to the committees, process the bills, come back and report. The Speaker, when we bring the reports the way they are, we shall have analyzed their incompetencies or competencies. So when we continue pushing back and forth, it is as if we have interest. It is them that brought the bills here. Let's go back and have the reports. We throw them away if they don't tally with the law.
Honorable members.
Madam Speaker, for example, Madam Speaker, for example, why should we interrogate? Why should we interrogate the certificate of financial implication when they have already been tabled? Why should we interrogate them here? Let them interrogate them when we are at a committee level. If they are not there, let us throw them away.
Honorable members, Commissioner.
Much obliged, Honorable Speaker. Initially, I thought I had understood the challenge the Land Attorney General was facing, and I thought he would be committal on the issue of pending certificates and how much time he needed to have them delivered. Whether it's a problem in finance that the House can understand, because they are severable. If you look at the bills that are being bundled into omnibus, the certificates are severable, and therefore they must be separately be brought to the House. I thought the Land Attorney General would indicate to the House how many hours it needs that the House can settle its spirit on the availability of the certificates. Two, the House needs to be properly informed that even when we are undertaking rationalization and budgeting at the same time, should there be a need to reverse? The PFME provides for a colligenda, and therefore the hurry should not be an excuse of budgeting, should not be the excuse for hurrying a fraudy process, because we are resetting for posterity, and therefore if the Minister of Finance has an issue and needs to do a backup filling after the rationalization, you have the PFMA at hand to come with a agenda for correction, for addition and deduction and clarifications. Therefore, budgeting is not an excuse for us to do a shoddy and a shabby job here. Honorable Speaker, so will the Attorney General clarify what is missing and how much time he needs for us to do a good job?
Right, Honorable Speaker, the certificates of financial implication required amendment. Required amendment. I may have a bad car, but I have a car. So,
honorable members.
Right, honorable
members. There are bills that had proper certificates. Now, the ones that they are talking about are different. So, Attorney General, guide.
Like the Commissioner stated, right, Honorable Speaker, for the bills that are being brought by sector, I have guided finance that each bill that is each act that is being affected must have a severable report on its financial implication. I think that's what they are working on. Now, the issue of when they can bring them, the minister is here. I was hoping they'd have them last week. I'm still hoping that they'll have them, but I've guided that if the bill has got several parts, it should have severable financial implications for each. Thank you.
Attorney General, the issue of the bundling of bills.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I entirely agree with the Honorable Odur. Let the committees present the report with their view on the law, and let us also present our view on the law on those points, and the committee makes its findings. I beg some.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, Honorable Duru gave a guidance. What Honorable Musazizi talked about, for him, he wanted to correct the issue of the certificates. Which certificates is ready to lay? Then it is upon you in the committee to scrutinize what is required. If Attorney General is able to defend his position, let it be so. So can we first have the certificates laid? Can I first have the certificates?
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have listened to Honorable Jonathan Odul. If the Attorney General can listen, I see them also quarreling there. Madam Speaker, when we were at the meeting of the Committee on Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, the Attorney General actually was not chased. Our agreement with him was that these things can be corrected. The Attorney General, who is now running everywhere like a headless chicken, Madam Speaker, the Attorney General and Minister of Finance, they are just making your table dirty.
Honorable members, Attorney General and Finance are not dirty. They are not dirty, and my table has not been dirtied. It depends on how you define being dirty. Yes, honorable members. Okay,
I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker. There are two things I look at it from these two perspectives. I've done this categorization. There are bills which have the correct certificates of financial implication.
it is not an assumption. I have the reports.
Yes.
I have everything.
Yes.
The four institutions are very clear.
Right, Honorable Speaker, those bills which have those correct certificates of
Actually, the
financial implication,
three. I have NITAU, I have
even
KDA,
yes,
and archives.
I have had a benefit of looking at them, and surely those are bills that we can proceed with as the House. Then something, Right Honorable Speaker, we did have an interface. I sit in the Committee of Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. We had an interface with Attorney General and the team. It was not chasing, and I want to put it clearly. We cannot chase the person of Attorney General. we agreed in principle. It was a consensus with the Attorney General that we identified as actually a fundamental issue in these certificates. That's when Attorney General...
Which is being corrected.
Which is being corrected. After Attorney General retreated, he said, if I cannot advance, let me retreat and consult with finance. But what came out in the media made it look like Attorney General was chased. It was never chased.
Okay, now it is being corrected. What next?
Now the issue of the certificates that is being corrected. This is my humble view. These bills were presented already and sent to the committees. The Committee of Legal. When it came to different committees. When these bills were presented to the committees, the certificates that accompanied them at the time had that challenge. Now we have developed, we are now putting the correct certificates in compliance with Section 76.
Two.
My humble legal view would be this, that these particular bills that now have rectified certificates of financial implications be first withdrawn and submitted accompanying these certificates. What we are about to do today, to lay a certificate without a bill, it may not be supported by our laws.
Honorable
Most
Attorney
obliged.
General. Attorney General.
Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Attorney General, on the view of Honorable Kiror.
Right Honorable Speaker, if the House pleases it that way, we'll be happy to do it.
Next item. Next item.
Item 3, bills second reading. The national records.
The bills with defective certificates of financial implications. Can you repeat what you said? Repeat what you said.
Right Honorable Speaker, the bills with defective certificates of financial. Right Honorable Speaker, the bills with defective certificates of financial implications will be withdrawn and retabled.
When are you withdrawing?
Pardon?
Withdrawn.
Are withdrawn and will be resubmitted.
Madam Speaker, can he mention, can he right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, Honorable Minister, are you ready to retable them now with the certificates?
Madam Speaker, the proper procedure would have been for the Attorney General to specifically mention those bills which government has withdrawn, and of course seeking leave from this House, grant leave to withdraw. Then he will come at an appropriate time to retender them de novo.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Attorney General renders advice. The bills have sponsors. So my advice is that the bills with certificates of financial implications which are defective be withdrawn. That's my advice.
Honorable members, Honorable members, as we wait for government chief whip to organize his troops, on withdrawal and retabling of their bills. I have bills which are ready. Can we go to the next bill?
Item 3.
Can we go to the next bill? They will name them. They will come and name them because they don't know. Can we go to the next bill?
Item 3. Item 3 on the order paper. Bill second reading. The National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable members, can we have the bill tabled by the Minister of Public Service?
Right Honorable Speaker and members of the House, I beg to move that the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read the second time. I beg to move.
Is the bill seconded? Seconded. Seconded by Silwanyi, Rosie, Mooma, a chair of local, Aza, Achan, Anyakun, by the whole front bench, and the Royal Guards. I can see you. Yes, I see to see me there, Professor Connie, Lillian. Would you love to speak to your motion? Honorable members.
Right Honorable Speaker.
Just a minute, honorable members. If you're going to continue making noise thinking I will first adjourn the house, don't lie yourselves. Don't, because that's not my culture. I will not adjourn the house. We must process the business and I leave you to go to your committees. Okay. Speak to your motion.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, you will recall that Cabinet took a decision to merge, mainstream, and rationalize government agencies, commissions, authorities, boards, and public expenditure to facilitate efficient and effective service delivery. Now, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 is one of the bills introduced in Parliament seeking to give effect to the government policy on rationalization of government agencies. This particular bill seeks to amend the current National Records and Archives Act of 2001 to mainstream the functions of the National Records and Archives Agency into the Ministry of Public Service. The rationale for mainstreaming the Archives Center is to avoid duplication of roles and functions between the agency and the ministry. Right Honorable Speaker, the general principle really is that the staff of the National Records and Archives Center are part of the ministry. One, because the agency was never put into operation in the first instance. The functions have been going on well. There are no cost implications involved. And therefore, it is quite in order, Right Honorable Speaker, for the amendment to be carried out. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I now call the chair of the committee to give us a report.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Honorable Speaker, before I embarked on this task, permit me to lay on table, one, the report of the committee on the public service and local government, on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Permit me also to lay on table together the minutes of the committee meetings. I beg to lay.
Mr.
Honorable Speaker, Right Honorable Speaker, permit me to present the report of the Committee on Public Service and Local Government on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Right Honorable Speaker, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 was read for the first time on Tuesday, 20th February 2024, and referred to the Committee on Public Service and Local Government for scrutiny in accordance with Rule 129.
Evans, come back to the house. Honorable members, don't leave other people. We are only going to handle one bill, then you go for lunch. Now, you know, he thought I didn't know his name.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. In accordance with Rule 129.1 of the Rules of Procedure of the Parliament of Uganda, the committee scrutinized the bill in accordance with the rules, as I mentioned, Rule 129.2, 3, and 4 of our Rules of Procedure, and now reports to this House as follows. Right Honorable Speaker, the National Records and Archives are a vital and valuable part of the country. In Uganda, keeping national records started way before independence in the 1950s. The records at the time were kept at the Protectorate, Secretariat, and Entebbe. After the Secretariat Archives was established under the Chief Secretary's office, Secretary Office. When Uganda obtained independence in 1962, the records were transferred to the government of Uganda under the Department of Management Information Services in the Office of the President. In 1990, following the recommendation of the Public Service Review and Reorganization Commission report, the National Records and Archives were transferred from the Office of the President to the National Records Center and Archives under the Ministry of Public Service, where they are to date. In 2001, the National Records and Archives Act was enacted to provide for the rationalized and management of all government and other public records and archives for the preservation, utilization, and disposal of such records and archives, and for other related matters. Under this act, ministries, departments, agencies, and local governments must ensure that public records are well managed and copies of publications deposited in the National Archives. The Act further provides for the establishment of an agency called the National Records and Archives Agency to oversee the proper management of public records and archives. Much as the Act was assented to on the 7th of June 2001, and commenced on the 15th of June 2001, the agency was never operationalized, and the functions under the Act continue to be carried out by the Ministry of Public Service. On the 22nd of February 2021, under minute number 43, bracket CT 2021, Cabinet adopted a policy of rationalization where certain government agencies, commissions, and authorities would be merged, mainstreamed, or dissolved to reduce public expenditure and facilitate effective and efficient service delivery. One of the agencies affected by the RAPEX policy is the National Records and Archives Agency, which was established under the Act but was never operationalized or structured. Object and policy of the bill. Right Honorable Speaker, the object of the bill is to give effect to the government policy for rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure RAPEX, which was adopted by the Cabinet on 22nd February 2021. The bill thus seeks to amend the National Records and Archives Act 2001, Act 12 of 2001, to dissolve the National Records and Archives Agency and to transfer the functions of the agency to the ministry responsible for public service. It should be noted at the onset that the National Records and Archives Agency was never structured or operationalized. Methodology. The committee held meetings with the Ministry of Public Service and the Department of National Records and Archives Management in the Ministry of Public Service. Right Honorable Speaker, committee observations and recommendations. The committee made the following observations on the salient provisions of the bill. Clause 4, interpretation. Clause 4 of the bill seeks to amend Section 2 of the Principal Act, the interpretation section. This amendment seeks to do away with all reference to the National Records and Archives Agency in the definition section to place the ministry in its stead. It is a consequential amendment to the dissolution of the agency whose functions are transferred to the ministry. The committee observed that clause 4 is necessary. However, A, the definition of minister should be amended to speak to the ministry under clause 6 of the bill, in bracket, ministry responsible for public service. And B, the word ministry needs to be defined under this clause because it is not defined in the Principal Act. The committee recommends that clause 4 is adopted with the necessary amendments. Clause 5, amendment of Section 5. Clause 7 proposes that the head note of Section 5, bracket functions of the agency, is substituted with function of the ministry. Clause 7 also proposes that the word agency in the provision is substituted with the word ministry. This clause shall, in essence, transfer the functions of the agency to the ministry. The committee observes that clause 4 is a necessary amendment to mainstream the functions of the agency into the ministry and recommends that it should be adopted. Clause 8, substituting the word director in the Principal Act. Clause 8 proposes that the word director, wherever it appears in the Principal Act, is substituted with the word ministry. The committee observed that the definition of director was deleted under clause 4, so there is need to delete it from the entire act, which has been done under this clause. However, the head note of clause 8 is unclear insofar as it provides for act of Principal Act and not an amendment of section in the act or an insertion of a new clause in the bill. The committee recommends that clause 8 should be deleted and provided for as an amendment of a section in the act. Clause 14, amendment of Section 18 of the Principal Act. Clause 14 of the bill proposes that Section 18(1) of the Principal Act is amended by substituting for the words is or are the words the ministries. The committee observes that this is a proper amendment to correct the grammatical error in the provision. However, 1, the grammatical error in section 18.3 should also be corrected, and 2, the cross-reference to section 25 in section 18.3 should also be deleted because section 25 has been repealed under clause 15. The committee recommends that clause 14 should be adopted with amendment. Clause 17, amendment of section 31 of the Principal Act. Clause 17 of the bill amends section 31 of the Principal Act, which provides for the mandate of the ministry to make regulations. The purpose of this amendment is to remove the word advice or advisory committee and to improve on the drafting of section 31 of the Principal Act. The committee observes that section 25 of the Principal Act also provides for regulations by the minister to prescribe the fees that may be charged for the supply of copies, the certification of copies, and the provision of other services. However, section 25.
Procedure.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry, somebody is whistling and saying best friend, but he's not my best friend, he's a member of parliament. Right, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Penduzi, who is the chairperson of the committee, is already talking about the clauses. I thought he was just going to give us a general recommendation, and at an appropriate time, we'll go for the committee and look at clause by clause. Will it not be procedure right for him to summarize and we go to committee stage so that we go clause by clause? Thank you.
Thank you. That is from your chairman, Peso. I mean, actually, parliamentary, your best friend.
I take note of that advice, right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you.
But just to correct, he's not my best friend. Right, Honorable Speaker, the committee recommends that clause 17 should be adopted with amendments to add the prescription of fees by regulation. Right, Honorable Speaker, additional amendments by the committee. The committee recommends the following additional amendments to the Principal Act which were not captured in the bill. Section 7 of the Principal Act. Section 7 of the Principal Act stipulates the responsibilities of the creators of public records for their proper management, where Section 7A mandates the heads of organs of state to nominate a senior officer in each organ of state to superintend the action taken therein, respect of this act. The committee observed that the use of the word nomination is not reflective of the mandatory spirit stipulated in the section. The committee therefore recommends that Section 7 should be substituted to ensure that a senior officer is designated for that purpose and not merely nominated. Section 9 of the Principal Act. Right, Honorable Speaker, Section 9 states that in respect of public records created, received, and maintained by public corporations and parastatals organization, the responsibilities set out in Section 7 and 8 of the Act shall be those of chairpersons of the boards of those corporation or organization. The committee observed that instead of chairpersons of the boards of those corporation or organization, it is pertinent that the accounting officers of the respective corporations, organizations, or are responsible for the mandate under Section 7 and 8, such as the creation and maintenance of documentation of their respective institutions for purposes of accountability. The committee recommends that the role assigned to the chairpersons of boards in Section 9 of the Principal Act be assigned to the accounting officers. Conclusion. Despite the establishment of the National Records and Archives Agency in the Principal Act, it is important to note that this agency was never operationalized. The functions of the agency that were envisioned under the Act have been and continue to be carried out by the Ministry of Public Service. Therefore, the intention of the rationalization of this agency under the bill and mainstreaming its function into the ministry is appropriate. Right Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the committee recommends that the bill be considered for second reading, subject to the proposed amendments attached hereto. I beg to report.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you so much. Yes, Jonathan.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, the procedural matter I'm raising, and I want the Attorney General and maybe the Minister for Public Service to help explain to us, because it can save us time on the other bills. This bill seeks to, I want to read from the wordings here, that Clause 3 states that on the commencement of this act, the National Records and Archives Agency, established by the National Records and Archives Act 2001, shall be dissolved. And the procedural matter I wanted government to help us is to address us on the procedure required for government to establish a department. And if that procedure requires you to come to Parliament to establish any department that you feel as government you require to help you exercise your functions within the ministry. If that is the case, then my submission is that this bill should have provided for the repeal. Just repeal this, and it is like it doesn't exist, and then you go back to your ministry and then establish a department which can do the things you intend to do. So I wanted the Minister of Public Service and the Attorney General to address us, because it also applies to the rest of the, for you to come here and say, amen, this, amen, and we still have an act, and yet, unless there is another way out, I see that the minister wants to exercise some functions and we just repeal. That's the procedural matter I'm raising.
Let me first get guidance from Attorney General in regard to the 3, dissolution of national records and archives agencies.
Because that's the further procedure I wanted to augment on, Madam Speaker. If the act, the purpose of the act was to establish the agency, which you are now dissolving, do you still need to have this act simply to vest some powers in the minister? Do you need an act of parliament for a minister to act?
Right Honorable Speaker, you don't need an act of parliament always to vest powers in a minister. But when you have an act such as this one, which is going to require the minister to levy fees and that kind of thing, then such acts you will require the parliament to give you the power to make those levies. So not all acts, you're correct, not everything that the minister has to do has to be set out by law. But certain functions, if are going to exceed the ordinary administrative function, you'll need the law. Like in this case, I think you'll need it because you need to set fees. You need to even set regulations which are going to affect the keeping of records. So I think that's where the difference is.
The clarification I want to get from you, if the sole purpose for maintaining sections of this particular act is in respect of levying fees,
the sole purpose of maintaining this is to manage records in accordance with the law. That is the purpose of this, the records, meaning that the minister cannot sit and administratively take action on how records are to be kept. Now, this law may seem innocuous right now, but for example, if say you got all these records of employees, for example, and you wanted to keep them, the question is, did the minister keep these records in accordance with the law? We have other records which we keep in whatever way we wish to keep. So the purpose here is for records, not just fees, for records. Thank you.
Yes, Doctor.
Right Honorable Speaker, in this report, This law was enacted in 2001 and it came into commencement thereafter. But we don't hear the reason why the ministry never operationalized this agency. What constrained you from operationalizing? Because it is very important so that we understand what went wrong.
Okay. Aisha.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. And Right Honorable Speaker, this informs the procedural point I've been raising on since we started. The defects in the law. For the whole 13 bills we have here, they have the same defect. When we ask the minister to unbundle, unfortunately, they retained the same defect, and to the 10 of them, leave the 3, but to the 10, even the remedy they gave us is the same. For this particular bill, when you read the defect in the law, it has nothing to do, the defect given to us. It talks about duplication of roles. It talks about the heavy expenses, the structure payment that is not uniform. And we are speaking about an entity that never existed at all. Now I'm on a procedural issue, I'm not debating, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, is it not procedurally right? One, that for the 10 bills that are coming, we shall go and revise the defect, because the defect is not the same. Even for this particular one, the defect in the law that is given to us does not speak to the problem.
Is it a copy and paste defect?
It is the same defect for all of them. Those cannot have the same defect. They gave us the same defect. Only these 3 have the different remedy, but the rest of the 10, even the remedy is the same. Is it not procedure right that first, as the minister will be tabling to us the certificate of implications, revises these defects? They're not the same. They cannot be the same, and remedy is also the same. Now, speaking to this one that has been read for the second time, is it not procedure right for us to go by because the chairman has ably talked about the defect, probably we substitute chairman's submission to this bill so that we move on. Otherwise, the defect given by the minister.
The chairman's report is informative. It is not, we will look at the clauses one by one. We are going to amend the clauses one by one. So my question,
Right Honorable Speaker, what do we do to a bill that is presented to us?
Take what the chairman has given you.
How do we take
it? Because what the chairman is giving you is what chairman is using to amend this bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General can guide us how to proceed, because these are records that will stay even after us. If a person reads a law that existed.
Okay, now use it for guidance.
Okay.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, we have one common defect in all the laws that are being brought for rationalization. It's one common defect. It would be wrong for us to say 10 laws cannot have the same wrong thing. What we are telling you here is that 10 laws brought the same problem: proliferation of agencies, duplication, unnecessary expenditure. In this case, we set out as Parliament to make a law for an agency which was actually superfluous, because we have since realized that we continue to operate well without the law. So, that's what I'm saying, that the minister has been operating under this law. Has been operating using the functions under this law. So we are saying no, since that is what he's been doing, let the functions be put there so that we continue moving. So this is the same defect, right, honorable members?
For this particular one, Attorney General, the organization did not exist at all. How can you say a burden on a national treasury was there?
The organization existed, but it was not operating.
Motion. Then there was no money spent on it.
That's why they are saying bring it back to the what? To the ministry. Bring it to the ministry to stop it from being a standalone agency.
Thank you.
Right, Honorable Speaker.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Honorable.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Team.
Yes.
Thank
you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I feel like we are beginning to touch on some of the clauses actually being spoken about in this bill. I would like to move that we move to the committee stage where most of these issues will actually be elaborated more, because we already had some defects in the morning. It's coming to 1 o'clock and we have not processed any of these bills and we are still moving on these issues. I would like to move that we move to the committee stage and we discuss further on some of these clauses. Thank you.
Honorable members. Honorable members.
That was a motion.
According to the rules, Rule 204, that is 5 and 6, the bill should be tabled and given 3 days. However, we are suspending that rule for us to allow the bill to be debated and either passed or not passed, whichever. Honorable both or both. There was a motion? Yes, there's a motion.
Yes, Right Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I would move a motion that we suspend Rule 204, 5 and 6 to enable this debate to take place, Right Honorable Speaker.
Seconded. Seconded by Okirori, by ED, by Education, Trade, MoMA, Eva, Santa, Royal Guard, Yakol, by Honorable Polot, by Honorable Seku, by Abe, by Lee. Thank you. So we've suspended Rule 204, sub-rule 5 and 6. You want to debate, you debate.
Procedure, Right Honorable. Procedure. Procedure, Right Honorable.
By the honorable colleague.
There's another motion again. There's another motion, please. Motion comes first.
Yeah, but Madam, you are not put it to vote. So if it remains on record, this proposal, it can be challenged. Either you subject it to a vote, so that if it carries the day, then the suspension
I
is done.
asked for secondment.
Secondment is not a voting, but.
Okay, I put a question. You know, that's why it is good to have Jonathan in the house. I put a question that Rule 204, sub-rule 5 and 6, in respect to suspension of the rule in respect to the debate on the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. There is only one no from Betty.
Madam Speaker, the debate I wanted was to oppose the motion by my brother, who proposed that we move to the committee stage. Madam Speaker, I want to point out this very important.
Who brought a motion? He didn't. You brought it.
Madam Speaker, actually, my motion was the first that we move to the committee stage before my honorable colleague brought a second motion, and mine was not brought.
His was overtaken by Vance.
Yes.
His was overtaken by Vance. So you debate. You debate. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank you very much. The bill we are dealing with, and I want the Attorney General to pay attention. I think when you retreat as government, first, I'm giving you advice. You need to do a lot of reading of the rules, because in the past, when you introduce government business like you have done, in fact, even the suspension of the rules will be done by you because you want your business processed. But you are behaving like a blind person that at every stage someone must walk you there. You forget that there are rules that must be followed. No, I didn't mean to offend my colleagues with people with disability, and I apologize.
Honorable, let's use a parliamentary language.
I apologize to people with disability. So I want to give advice, because you are making government look very shabby.
Honorable members.
Now on the...
Honorable members, let's have respect for each other. It costs you nothing to respect each other. Because when you say Honorable KK is like walking like a blind person, assuming he said the same to you, how would you feel? How would you feel? And remember, you have your voters here, up here, listening to you. And don't spoil my voters because they are not used to that language. Don't spoil my
Madam
voters.
Speaker, I did withdraw.
Give him information.
I would like to give my friend, Honorable Semuju, information. The Attorney General is an advisor of government and did not introduce any bill. So the mover of the bill is one who would be interested in that. But I also noted that the member who raised it comes from this side, which has government. So government, we are awake. That's why we raised it.
Madam Speaker, I don't want to make that the debate. Let me go to the substantial issues that are in the bills, almost in all, but specifically the one before us. In this bill, Madam Speaker, proliferation of agencies, mandate overlaps, and issues of salary disparities and money. I want to begin by thanking God that this day has finally come. When government was creating NIRA, I stood here and told the government that the continued creation of agencies was actually a vote of no confidence in the government as it existed. My proposal then, supported by the Honorable Kakoza James, was that the functions of NIRA should have been bestowed to the Citizens and Immigration Department as it existed. But God is good. The government that was saying no services nearer to the people, the same government says now this was a mistake. Maybe you should have started with an apology on behalf of those who processed the bills at that time. But most important, Madam Speaker, I read the policy statement of Minister of Finance. In the statement, they were talking about rationalization also of MDAs. The issue now, if you read the report of the Electoral Commission, the 2-year strategic plan, the Electoral Commission says at the next elections, there will be 3 million elective positions in Uganda at the next election. We have committees of youth, of women, of people with disability, LCs 1, 2, 3. So when you total all of them, there will be 3 million elective positions, and the Electoral Commission projects to spend 2 trillion shilling, 1.3 trillion on organizing elections, and then the rest. So the point I make, Madam Speaker, as we consider this National Records and Archives Amendment Bill, is that government need to be serious about rationalization. This parliament has grown. Now we can't even fit here. A new chamber has got to be constructed. The same government will come here with proposals to create constituencies. Cabinet has grown from what originally was provided in the constitution of 21 and 25 ministers to about half a secondary school. No wonder at one time the president was referring to one of the ministers as Nani. Said Nani, he couldn't even remember his ministers because they have become too many. And I use the highways. Almost every other now and then there will be a convoy of a minister with escorts, with what? As I said, when this matter was brought here, I 100% support rationalization, but please don't do it in a piecemeal way to deal with one agency and then you go and keep quiet. We need even ministries to be merged. There are ministries, I remember when the president was transferring the Honorable Saida Bomba from finance to gender because of the compensation to Basaja Warawa. The president publicly said that I am removing her from finance to take her to this useless ministry of women. That's what the president said. If you want, you can go back to the record. So the ministries need to be.
Did you say women are useless?
No, I didn't. I am quoting the president. He said he was removing the Honorable Saida Bomba from finance, taking her to this useless ministry.
There's a procedural matter. Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The procedural matter I'm raising is in relation to the debate for the report. We should be debating a report, Right Honorable. Are we proceeding right by going into stories of women and so on, of transfer for ministers? Are we proceeding right, Right Honorable?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I concur with my honorable colleague. I feel the bill on we have right now that we are debating is actually where we should be focusing the debate. But I do feel like we're now going sideways, Madam Speaker. I'll ask for you to guide.
You know, I think there's nothing that Nani. I think there is nothing that Honorable Ibrahim wanted to talk about the bill. He just wanted to talk about it generally. And based on that, then why don't we go to there's a motion here. There's a motion.
But Madam Speaker, if you can allow
There's
me
a motion.
just a second.
Madam Speaker, you remember from the
motion.
beginning.
There's a motion.
Madam Speaker, you remember from the beginning when the chairman was reading his report, I saw the direction very clearly that we needed to go to the committee stage. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I move a motion that the debate be suspended and we go for the committee stage where we'll discuss clause by clause.
Is that seconded? Is seconded by Madame Alanyo or Luca Gabriel by the whole house. Those in favor of suspension, I mean of going direct the committee. Those in support of going to the committee, say and the contrary, nay. Ayes have it. Yes,
national-
procedure.
Right Honorable Speaker, I wanted to oppose the motion, but let me draw your attention. It will help us.
I didn't see, my eyes didn't see you.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, in the report, the chairperson reported that they consulted the Ministry of Public Service and a department responsible. That's all they did. The only other way that Ugandans can participate is when we allow debate on this matter. And I wanted to point out that position, that sort of members of parliament who are the representative being given time to debate at this stage the report. And then we rush and we go into the committee stage when the bills have not been adequately consulted upon. We have not been sent back as MPs to go and consult. The chairperson did not invite the stakeholders, Uganda Law Society, and whoever affected to come. The only chance to address the issue of public participation would be by allowing debate here. So I wanted to put on record so that when we get to the other stage, we don't rush.
I also want to put it on record that this same house constituted a select committee. Was it select or ad hoc? The Byanyima committee, which did extensive consultation on the bills that were brought. That is what has delayed this rationalization. We have a report from from the committee of the house. Yes,
Right, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I came in from the Committee Defense and the Internal Affairs, came in a little late, listening to the trend. And I think you're guiding and leading us well in this regard. When a bill is before us for the debate, and a member gets up to speak and is going into what is not in the bill, and that is the debate we need. I think Honorable Dur should have been more specific in this matter. The only way the speaker can know the interest of members to debate a bill is when we speak to the bill and we are relevant to the bill. But when you're quoting the president who is not a member of this house, these are all matters that you've already ruled, and I think a motion has been carried. We need to go to the committee stage.
Honorable members, Honorable both was reacting to what Honorable Semuju was talking, not really what Dur and Honorable Dur Jonah was saying, and the motion took the day.
The National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024, Bills Committee stage. Clause 1.
I put a question that clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
I put a question that clause 2 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 3.
I put a question that clause 3 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4.
Clause 4, Chair.
Right, Honorable Speaker. Clause 4, on amendment of section 2 of the Principal Act. Right Honorable Speaker, clause 4 is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph B the following. C, by inserting immediately after the definition of minister the following. Minister means a ministry responsible, ministry means a minister responsible for public service. D, in the definition of minister, by substituting for the word the administration of this act, the word public service. Justification, to define a keyword used in the act. And 2, to align the definition of minister with the definition of ministry. Thank you.
Minister.
I agree with that amendment.
Jonathan. Attorney General, Shadow.
Where, notwithstanding my area observation that we should have repeated, I have no objection.
Attorney General.
I have no objection.
I put a question that clause 4 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 4 as amended.
I put a question that clause 4 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 5.
I put a question that clause 5 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 6.
I put a question that clause 6 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7.
Chair.
Right Honorable Speaker, clause 7, amendment of section 5 of the Principal Act. Clause 7 is amended by inserting immediately after paragraph B the following. C, by substituting the word director, the word ministry, and wherever it appears in the Principal Act. Justification, to substitute the word director wherever it appears, the word ministry.
Minister.
No objection.
AG.
You can't substitute the word agency with the ministry, then director with the ministry. The best would have been to delete by way of repeat provision related to director.
All right, Honorable Chair. The purpose of that amendment is to move the functions that were originally given to the director to be passed on to the ministry. So if you delete, then there will be no one who is running that function. We propose that the amendment as proposed by the committee be carried.
Honorable Nwagaba, you.
Then instead of ministry, it should be minister.
Instead of ministry should be that instead of ministry, it should be minister.
No, this particular one has been moved to the ministry, in which case the ministry will be able to carry out its internal administrative functions to know whether it's a department, a directorate, and etc. So this is to the ministry,
I concede.
Thank you. I put a question that clause 7 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 7 as amended.
I put a question that clause 7 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 8.
Deletion.
Right Honorable Speaker, clause 8 on the amendment of the Act of the Principal Act, clause 8 is deleted. And the justification is that it's a consequential amendment of clause 7.
Honorable Nwagaba.
That's the proper position.
Honorable Minister.
I concede.
Attorney General.
I have no objection.
I put a question that clause 8 be deleted as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 9.
I put a question that clause 9 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right Honorable Speaker, insertion of new clause immediately after clause 9. The bill is amended by inserting immediately after clause 9 the following. Amendment of section 7 of the Principal Act. Section 7 of the Principal Act is amended by by substituting for paragraph A the following. A, ensuring that a senior officer is designated to superintend the action taken in each organ of state in respect of this act. Justification. For clarity and to ensure that a senior officer is designated for that purpose.
Honorable Minister.
No objection.
Honorable Nwagaba.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that the proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 10.
I put a question that clause 10 stands part of the bill. Those in favor sign the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
New clause.
New clause.
Right Honorable Speaker, insertion of a new clause immediately after clause 10. The bill is amended by inserting immediately after clause 10 the following. Amendment of section 9 of the Principal Act. Section 9 of the Principal Act is amended by substituting for the words chairpersons of boards the words accounting officers. Justification is for clarity. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Minister.
No objection.
Honorable Nwagaba.
I think the justification should be for harmony, but it's okay.
Honorable AG.
No objection.
I put a question that proposed new clause stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 11.
I put a question that clause 11 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 12.
I put a question that clause 12 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 13.
I put a question that clause 13 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14.
14. You have an amendment. I put a question that clause 14 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
Right Honorable Speaker, my sincere apologies on behalf of the committee. On clause 14. On clause 14, amendment of section 18 of the Principal Act.
We are not, no, I didn't say the ayes have it because I knew there was an amendment.
Thank you, Right
You can
Honorable
amend.
Speaker. Clause 14 of the bill is substituted with the following. Section 18 of the Principal Act is amended. A, in subsection 1 by substituting for the words is or are, the words it. B, in subsection 3 by substituting for the words he or she, the word it. And for the words section 25 and 31, the words are section 31. Justification to remove a repeal cross-reference from the provision and to correct the grammar. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister. It's basically on grammar.
No objection.
Honorable Wilfred.
No objection.
AG.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 14 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 14 as amended.
I put a question that clause 14 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 15.
15. I put a question that clause 15 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 16.
16. I put a question that clause 16 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17.
17.
Right, Honorable Speaker, Clause 17, amendment of Section 31 of the Principal Act. Clause 17 of the bill is substituted with the following. Section 31 of the Principal Act is substituted with the following. 31, regulations. The minister may make regulations prescribing all matters that are required or permitted by this act to be prescribed or which are necessary or convenient to be prescribed, including the fees to be charged for the supply of copies, the certification of copies, and the provision of other services under this act by the ministry. And the justification is to specifically provide for the prescription of fees to be charged by the ministry.
Honorable Minister.
No objection.
Winfred.
No objection.
AJ.
No objection.
I put a question that clause 7 be amended as 17 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 17 as amended.
I put a question that clause 17 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 18.
I put a question that clause 18 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 19.
I put a question that clause 19 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Clause 20.
I put a question that clause 20 stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Title.
Title. I put a question that the title stands part of the bill. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
Motion for resumption of the House.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Chairperson, I beg to move that the House do resume and the committee of the whole House reports thereto. I beg to move.
I put a question that the House resumes and the committee of the whole House reports thereto. Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it. You know, it is fun to have people like Semuji in the house. I would be so bored if I didn't have Honorable Semuji.
Report of the committee of the whole House.
Actually, Nani, when you go to Rome, when you go to Mecca, I will be bored here. We should go together. Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that I beg to report that the committee of the whole House has considered the bill entitled the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 and passed it with some amendments. I beg to report.
Motion for adoption of the report of the committee of the whole House.
Honorable Minister.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the report of the committee of the whole house be adopted. I beg to move.
I put a question that the report of the committee of the whole house be adopted by this house. Those in favor say the contrary nay. Let's have it.
Bill's third reading, the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read the third time and do pass. I beg to move.
I put a question that the National Records and Archives Amendment Bill 2024 be read and the third time and do pass. Those in favor say on the contrary nay. Let's have it.
A bill for an act titled the National Records and Archives Amendment Act 2024.
The title is settled and the bill has been passed. Congratulations. Honorable Government Chief Whip, I told you to organize your house.
Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, subject to the provisions of Rule 140 of the Rules of Procedure of this House on withdrawal of bills, and subject to the guidance that the House has given, I wish to state on behalf of government and also give notice that the following bills stand to be withdrawn by the respective sector ministers, sector by sector. One is the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Education Sector Amendment Bill 2024.
Yes, procedure.
Madam Speaker, while I have no problem with withdrawing and having the bills properly tabled, I need your guidance as to whether the Chief Whip can withdraw bills that were presented here by individual ministers.
No, what the government chief whip is saying, is reporting on behalf of government and is going to ask individual ministers to withdraw their bills.
Madam Speaker, as you're guiding, perhaps to clarify, because you're saying he is going to inform the individual ministers to withdraw. The government chief whip seems to be withdrawing himself. Maybe if we can have that clarified.
No, that is not what he has said. He said he's going to call the ministers, he's going to assign each minister. He's the leader of those ministers. He's going to call the sponsors to withdraw.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, for clarity, let me restate what I started with.
The problem you must have gone to.
No, Right Honorable Speaker.
The best school.
I went to typically the rural primary school in Ajuri County. But here I find myself in the capital city of Uganda, in the temple of legislation. Right Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Rule 140 of the Rules of Procedure of Parliament and subject to the guidance granted by this House, government wishes to give notice
Madam Speaker, Rule 140 is very specific. Let me read for the benefit of the government whip. A member in charge of a bill, may at any time give notice. There is no provision that an omnibus notice can be given by anyone. Is the government whip in order to misinterpret deliberately the rules of this parliament such that he does a function that is not bestowed upon him? Is he in order?
Honorable members, there is what they call government, and government is government. There is a leader of all these ministers. The leader of all these ministers is the government chief whip as of now, and is only calling upon his ministers to withdraw their bills. He's not the one going to withdraw. Why don't you wait and see whether Ubua is going to withdraw the bill himself, or Ubua is going to call the people to withdraw their bills? Now, he's giving you a preamble. He's giving you a preamble of why the bills are going to be withdrawn by the specific ministers. He's not going to withdraw.
Right, Honorable Speaker, you guided that. I also guide the process. Secondly, for us on this side, we operate on the basic principle of collective responsibility. And thirdly, the government chief whip now represents the leader of government business in parliament. And fourthly, our rules do stop us from anticipation. Allow me finish and wait if it is Obua who is going to withdraw. I will guide the process. The commanders are here. You can see them assembled and on standby class 1 to proceed. Right, Honorable Speaker, government wishes through the respective sector ministers, following the guidance of this House, to withdraw the following bills, and I hereby give notice that the following bills will be withdrawn by the respective sector ministers. 1, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Education Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 2, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Trade Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 3, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Works and Transport Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 5, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Social Development Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 6, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Tourism Sector Amendment Bill 2024. 7, Right, Honorable Speaker, that marks the end of all bills that were lumped up together sector by sector. May I therefore, with your permission, proceed to invite
Finance sector. Finance sector.
Oh, apologies, Right Honorable Speaker. The others are the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Internal Affairs Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Finance Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Water and Environment Sector Amendment Bill 2024, the Rationalization of Government Agencies, Agriculture Sector Amendment Bill 2024. Those are the sectors that were skipped. May I therefore, with your guidance, proceed to notify the House and equally invite the respective sector ministers to withdraw the bills that I have highlighted. Thank you.
Honorable. Yes.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Chief Whip for the presentation on the bills to be withdrawn. Madam Speaker, I'm also aware that the Karamoja Development Agency Act is one of those that needs to be withdrawn because the certificate before the committee does not, according to us.
Are you a chairperson of the committee?
I was a witness before the committee, and that was the position of the
Can
committee.
we first have this ones withdrawn, then we sort out the other one? Just like what Honorable Dur had said before, if you find it is defective, then let it come back from the committee chair.
Madam Chair, I thought we were doing this harmoniously because it should actually, according to Public Finance Act 76, we have read, it should, the agency
Honorable Dur,
financial implications.
can you first make a clarification again? Can we have the ministers first to withdraw, then the rest come?
The Minister of Education and Sports.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the rationalization of government agencies, education sector, amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn. I submit.
What have you read? What have you read?
Right Honorable Speaker.
You read as it is, the rationalization of government agencies.
The rationalization of government
sector.
agencies, education sector, amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn. Right Honorable Speaker.
Those in favor say on the contrary, nay for the withdrawal. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives.
Trade.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the rationalization of government agencies, trade sector amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor of the withdrawal of the bill say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Procedure, Madam Speaker.
Internal Affairs.
Procedure.
Yes, Betty.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, whatever we do here is captured by the Hansard. And I don't know whether it would be procedural okay for ministers to start withdrawing bills without stating the reason why they are withdrawing them. And then, Right Honorable Speaker.
The reasons were already stated before you came. Next.
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Internal Affairs.
Right Honorable Speaker.
She's a leader of government business.
I beg to move that the bill entitled Rationalization of Government Agencies, Minister of Internal Affairs, be withdrawn. I beg to move.
I put a question that those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
Finance. You're shadow minister of finance. It is the same with you. You people.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled Rationalization of Government Agencies Financial Sector 2024 be withdrawn.
Amendment Bill 2024.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled Rationalization of Government Agencies Finance Sector Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Water and Environment.
Now, the work of Honorable Betty is to say, with apologies after a very bill. So we have assigned you to say that. Water.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the nationalization, the bill, the rationalization of government agents bill.
Honorable members, you listen. She's saying rationalization. You see,
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, the Water and Environment Sector Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn. I beg to move.
those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries.
Agriculture. Agriculture. The shadow minister of agriculture wants to withdraw.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, Agricultural Sector be withdrawn. I beg to move.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Works and Transport.
Works. I saw General Katumba here. Works.
Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill entitled The Rationalization of Government Agencies, Works and Transport Sector be withdrawn.
Amendment Bill 2024.
Yes, Amendment Bill 2024 be withdrawn. I beg to move.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say aye and contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development.
Gender. Helen, you can do it from there.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the bill on rationalization of government agencies, social development sector amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn. Thank you.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister say on the contrary, nay. The ayes have it.
The
Thank
Minister
you.
of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities.
Tourism.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move the rationalization of government agencies tourism sector amendment bill 2024 be withdrawn.
Those in favor of the withdrawal as requested by the minister, say and the contrary nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the bills have been withdrawn and they will be brought. Which one? Honorable members, these bills have been withdrawn and will wait for the respective ministers to come and retable them when they are ready. We'll wait for you, ministers, to come and present them. And the rest of the committees with the reports should continue. And they will advise us on when they are ready. I am now adjourn the House to 2 tomorrow.
Your kids are still young.